Thank you for joining us for our annual Contract for Excellence hearing. Contract for Excellence, otherwise known as CFE, was first established by the state legislation in 2007 and 2008 during the state's budget process. The intent of the legislation is to improve student achievement and predominantly benefit students with the greatest educational needs and students in low-performing schools. CFE is not a grant or additional money. CFE is a set of restrictions that is placed on a portion of the district's foundation aid. This is commonly referred to as a set-aside within the district's general operating budget. There are certain programs and activities that are allowed in the Contract for Excellence. The programs and activities that are implemented as part of CFE have to be aligned to the school's achievement needs and have the greatest likelihood of positively impacting student achievement. Districts must target funds to students with the greatest educational needs, including but not limited to students with disabilities, students with limited English proficiency, English language learners, students living in poverty, students with low academic achievement, and we have to give priority to schools serving higher concentrations of such students. Buffalo Public Schools is part of the Big Five city schools, and as such, at least 75% of our CFE funds must benefit students having the greatest educational needs as measured against total school enrollment, poverty, disability, limited English proficiency, and low student performance. The CFE law specifies 6 categories of allowable programs and activities. Those are class size reduction, increased time on task, teacher and principal quality initiatives, middle and high school restructuring, full day kindergarten and pre-kindergarten, and model programs for English language learners. So the district allocation methodology. For our 24-25 budget, the state foundation aid formula was fully funded in this upcoming budget year. Foundation aid is our largest revenue source for the district, and as a result of the fully funded foundation aid, the CFE restrictions or set aside is also increased for the first time in years. The contract amount will be phased in over a 5-year timeline. There's a chart below on the screen that shows the amounts that were set aside. In 22-23, it was a little over $63.5 million. 23-24, almost $21 million. And for 24-25, it will be over $28 million. Again, this is not additional money. It is an increase in the restricted money in our foundation aid. Buffalo allocates that money by 2 methods: centrally allocated programs and flexible funds based on student enrollment. So for our centrally allocated programs, we fund reduced class sizes at 3 schools, schools 45, school 79, and school 80. We also fund model programs for ELL students, including cultural resource aids, multilingual teacher assistants, coordinators, and extended learning programs. The staff is centrally allocated by our multilingual department based on their review of the needs of individual students and schools in conjunction with other funding sources and staff assignments. Also part of our centrally allocated program are 17 social workers and 28 guidance counselors. The guidance and special education departments centrally allocate these positions based on their review of the needs of individual students and schools in conjunction with other funding sources and staff assignments. Additionally, as part of our central program, we fund elementary music programs, art or music programs to our elementary schools. We also have accelerated credit recovery program for 12th grade students at risk of non-completion, and we provide transportation to an after-school center for completion of Regents coursework. Approximately 100 students benefit annually from that program. Our flexible CFE program is part of the school-based budget process. Schools get an allocation, supplemental allocations, based on ELL students and academic scores, double scores, and ELA scores of the enrolled students at each school. The schools then, through the school-based budget process with their school-based management team, select what they're going to use the CFE funds for. They must align the use of their funds to their school improvement plans and goals. For the 24-25 budget year, the schools chose to use CFE flexible funds for 118 FTEs, including teachers, aides assistants, and guidance counselors. They also allocated around $275,000 for non-staff activities aligned to the CFE regulations and their school improvement goals and their set plans. So you can view the proposed contract at the website shown on this slide. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, you can send us an email at contractforexcellent@buffaloschools.org. You can send any questions you have. Comments are up until tomorrow will be included in what we are sending to the state. But if you have questions, you can send them at any time. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you. Oh, so now we're going to have Danielle Schwanenkamp present.
Good evening. My name is Danielle Schwanenkamp, Assistant Superintendent for Budget and Grant Management at the Buffalo Public Schools. I'm here to provide an annual update on the ARP ESSER funds for the district. As some background information, the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act was signed into law December 27, 2020. It authorized a second round of elementary and secondary school emergency relief funding, which we call ESSER II. The ESSER II project period ranged from March 13, 2020 through September 30, 2023. The funds were fully liquidated by the district by October 31st, 2023. The total ESSER II grant award for the district was $89.2 million. The American Rescue Plan was signed into law March 11th, 2021. It authorized a third round of ESSER funding, which we call ESSER III. The project period ranges from March 13th, 2020 through September 30th, 2024. Funds must be fully liquidated by the district by October 30th, 2024. our ESSER 3 grant award was $200.4 million. The purpose of the funds are to address the diverse needs arising from and exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, or to emerge stronger post-pandemic, including responding to students' social, emotional, mental health, and academic needs, and continuing to provide educational services as the schools respond and recover from the pandemic. The spending summary to date. Since 2021, the district has, to the 21-22 school year, 22-23 school year, the district spent a total of $108.8 million per our audited financial statements for the year. The 23-24 school year was the last year of ESSER 3 funding for the district. During fiscal year 23-24, the district spent approximately $83.3 million, bringing the total expenses to $192.1 million. As I mentioned before, the grant award is $200.4 million. At this date, the grant is approximately 96% spent. Due to the tight closing timelines for the grant project, internally, the district has closed the grant so we can continue with the final steps of auditing and closing entries and the final expenditure reporting for the state. It is estimated that the grant will be 100% spent and the report submitted to New York State Education Department by October 30th, 2024. And here's just a summary of the spending from our ARP ESSER 3 funds over the last 4-year period. The district settled the ESSER 3 funds contributed $25.4 million to the BTF contract settlement. As part of supporting the remote structure, the district spent another $23.3 million on IT-related expenses, such as laptops and tablets, interactive whiteboards and displays, network rebuild and security, and instructional and operational software. As part of the ARP ESSER 3 funds, we are required to set aside 20% of the funds for learning loss. The district to date has spent $25.6 million on summer school, as well as $8.2 million on after-school programming. The district also utilized the funds for much needed HVAC upgrades in school facilities. We spent $5 million from the ESSER 3 funds to finish the project the district started with the ESSER 2 funding. In addition, we spent $600,000 on cleaning equipment and supplies from this round of stimulus funding, and also funded 9 tradesmen for the district. The district provided school nursing services to every school in the district, as well as other non-public and charter schools as requested. The total contribution from our ESSER 3 funds to date is $5 million for nursing services. In addition, the district invested into the security of the district. The ARP ESSER 3 funds help fund $5.42 million to the security department which included the Evolve scanners that you see at the schools, two-way radios, and 51 additional security staff at the school. This year, the district implemented a new reading program, which also contributes towards the learning loss reserve. The new reading series cost the district $2.5 million. In addition, the last big expenditure out of the ARP ESSER 3 funds were the salary and benefits for central office and school-based staff, excluding the tradesmen and the security listed above, and that was approximately $57.8 million. At this time, the spending has ended, as I mentioned before, and we're working on closing out the books. If there are any questions, feel free to respond to that Contract for Excellence email in the previous presentation, and we will be able to respond to your question appropriately. Thank you for spending the evening with us, and have a wonderful evening